On September 12th, 2010, 50 Cent called in to the Shade 45 and DJ Who Kid radio show. And he was basically discussing his issues with, Diddy. And it was even going on back then. But what 50 Cent would describe is shocking.
No. Like he called, we used to kick it on the telephone and after the made.
Right.
And the nigga be like, matter of fact, they sent me the girl pictures of this girl, like, not that y'all saw. Worse, way worse.
Wow. Oh, you kidding me, yo?
Like penetration pictures and
Nah, come on, man. Come on, Phil.
all that. And I called I said, yo, you this girl, like, you really, like, you like her like that? And he was like, yeah, that's my girl. I'm like, all right, I'm going to send you something. You look at it, you call me back.
Oh,
I sent him the photos, the pictures and everything. And the nigga called back and was like, yo, thanks, man. Yo, I really appreciate that. Yo, where you get these shits from? Damn.
These remarks would eventually come true as we found out on October 3rd that Diddy indeed was doing all the things that 50 Cent talked about, which ended up getting Diddy 50 months in federal prison. But the question is, why does 50 Cent keep trolling Diddy? While a lot of people hate Diddy, not everybody is against him.
You already know Peace and Balance is your boy Bang'em Smurf, you know what I mean? Well, my reaction to the Diddy trial, free Diddy. You know how it go. He was definitely an entrepreneur, pioneer. He put on for the hip-hop game for years. You know what I mean? Like I was saying, let me get this out the way. Females is more vicious than men by nature. More wicked, more vicious, all that by nature, you heard? And that's all facts, you heard? These females knew what they was getting into and they was doing it for years.
Now this guy is saying, hey, listen, those women, knew what they were doing. It shouldn't be a big problem. And as we know, Diddy is probably broke. He's lost all of his businesses and really doesn't have very much to live for. But on the other hand, 50 Cent isn't even in hip hop anymore. He's producing like movies and shows. So even if Diddy wasn't in trouble, they would be diametrically opposed to each other. So again, where is the hatred coming from?
50 Cent is trying to take down Diddy.
No, he's trying to move Diddy and Jay-Z out the way so he can run it. And the truth is, I ain't mad at him. I just don't trust him. Because the truth is, he would just be another kind of monster in another kind of way. He don't want things to change. He just want to be the one that's running it. See? Easiest thing to do is to take your enemy's feet and hold them to the fire for things you know that they won't admit.
So according to Jaguar Wright, 50 Cent wants to control certain parts of the industry. And to be honest, 50 Cent has been going at Jay-Z for years, even since the late 90s. Jay-Z never responds to it. And to be honest, Diddy doesn't really respond to it either. He just says stuff like 50 Cent, wants to be like me, bless him and all of that. But there's still more to it. 50 Cent keeps trolling Diddy.
50 Cent has wrote a letter to the judge ahead of Diddy's sentencing on tomorrow. Now, in this letter, 50 is saying that him and Diddy have been beefing for over 20 years now, and that he needs the judge to think about the public safety before unleashing Diddy back up on us. He says that no matter how many classes that Diddy has taught up in that jail, he has not gotten enough reform at the time. He says, think about all the money that y'all spent on all those agencies that showed up like an army searching his houses just for his son, who's also facing a rape charge, to get online and said y'all searched the wrong house. Soon as y'all let Diddy out, he is going to be back out here on the streets buying more male ex-workers, as well as keeping the baby oil away from the general public, and the babies really need it. He says, but his documentary on this incident is going to be coming out soon on Netflix, so to make sure y'all check that out.
Now, this is an interesting thing. He wrote this judge all of this stuff, trolling, talking about baby oil. I mean, obviously, Diddy's life is completely over. But as the young lady said, 50 Cent was talking about this particular documentary that's coming on Netflix. And that's the number one strategy for 50 Cent. You see, 50 Cent really doesn't hate Diddy, not like we think he does. Because Diddy is a means to an end. It's free publicity for everything that he does, whether that is Branson Cognac, whether that is keeping his name hot, or the documentary that's going to sell on Netflix. All of these antics that 50 Cent does, it just keeps more money in his pocket and people talking about him for actually free. He doesn't have to pay for anything to continue to do this. And that's the number one reason why. But what's another reason?
The 15th law of power: crush your enemy totally. All great leaders since Moses have known that a feared enemy must be crushed completely. Sometimes they have learned this the hard way. If one ember is left alight, no matter how dimly it smolders, a fire will eventually break out. More is lost through stopping halfway than through total annihilation. The enemy will recover and will seek revenge. Crush him, not only in body, but in spirit.
This is another reason with the 48 laws of power situation. Now, I've never read the book, but you have this situation, crush your enemy completely so that your enemy can't return. It's obvious that Diddy, at his age in this stage of the game, is not going to return. But 50 Cent continues to destroy Diddy and continues to kick him when he's down. But Diddy's already down. He's been down for a long time. So why keep kicking him? He's kicking Diddy not because he hates Diddy. It's to prove something else. It's to prove to the rest of the industry that if you deal with me in any kind of funny style way, I will do you the same way too. I will ruin you. And this is what makes other artists or anybody else think twice about dealing with 50 Cent. And I want to kind of let you guys know, and this is something that needs to be talked about. In these industries, it's real dirty. I mean, even the YouTube game is dirty, but imagine, the alcohol industry, the fast consumer good industry, movies and all of that stuff. It's dangerous. People want to beat you. People copy your stuff. People double cross you. And I know people are going to say, well, 50 Cent's baby mama ended up with Diddy after that, and he's upset about that. No, that was even before then, right? The reality is that you need to be able to move as freely as you can in the industry so that people don't become bottlenecks or gatekeepers to your projects. And this is what 50 Cent has done. He's largely become independent so people can't bottleneck him. But Diddy is a person that could bottleneck. And this is kind of what happens in industries. The people gatekeep. For example, if you don't like this person and you work with this person, let's say, for example, I could punish you if you work with that person, knowing that me and this person has a conflict, all right? You might do some work with somebody that I'm not cool with, but you know that I'm not cool with them. But your excuse would be, well, that ain't got nothing to do with me, family. I mean, I don't have no problem with the person. Strike one. You're not loyal. You see, this is a situation that happened with Little Meech. Big Meech was cool with 50 Cent. Little Meech was the understudy or being, taught by 50 Cent. 50 Cent was bringing him up in the industry. Now, what happened was Big Meech decided to play something neutral. He did a Welcome Home concert with Rick Ross, or at least he was going to do it, but that got canceled, all right? And 50 Cent is the one who made sure that that concert didn't happen. Now, Big Meech should have thought about this because Big Meech should have understood that Rick Ross was an enemy. And Rick Ross coming to you for a concert deal when, your son works with 50 Cent, Big Meech was supposed to stay loyal. But Big Meech didn't stay loyal. He went with Rick Ross. And the reason why he went with Rick Ross, well, I don't have a problem with Rick Ross. Rick Ross ain't never did nothing to me. But guess what happened? Not only did you create an enemy with 50 Cent, you ended the career of Little Meech. And this is why Little Meech was reaching out to 50 Cent like, listen, I don't have nothing to do with that. I mean, bro, my dad did that. I didn't have anything to do with that. But you see, the thing is, 50 Cent understood. You will always be loyal to your father. So there's no way I can get him and not get you. So what does that message send to the industry? You must be 100% loyal to me under any circumstances. So it's not that he's destroying Little Meech or Big Meech. He's discarding them to teach everybody else a lesson. If you deal with me, you must be loyal. That's a power move, okay? And that's how people make folks play fair in crooked industries like entertainment. Now, this whole situation with Diddy, okay? If you come against me, all right, under every circumstance, no matter if you're good or bad, I'm going to finish you. I want to see you suffer till the end of time, all right? And this makes 50 Cent the most feared guy in hip hop. Nobody wants to touch him. Nobody wants to double cross him. Nobody wants those problems because there is absolutely no limit that he can go, all right? And as blacks, we got to understand that this is actually leverage, all right? If you're in a tough market or in a tough industry and people are playing dirty, you got to be willing sometimes to play dirty too. And you have to put leverage out there. If the black community adopted 50 Cent's mentality towards politics, well, then we would get everything that we wanted, all right? Just think about this. The Democrats ain't giving us something, right? And then the Democrats decide to do something for us and they promise that they were going to do it. Like, let's say, for example, the Cabrini Green projects in Chicago, some of these other dilapidated housing that happened in Chicago, it never came back to the black community. But what happened is they fixed those properties up, some of them at least, and then housed immigrants with those same properties. Now, if that was 50 Cent, 50 Cent would have destroyed the life of any Democratic leader that basically said that they were going to do that. Like Brandon Johnson, like anybody else, any alderman, all right? That person would have had to suffer for the career. And so what would happen is the next politician that came into Chicago would be absolutely forced to do the right thing. They would absolutely be forced. Otherwise, they would fear that embarrassment. So it forces people to play fair, okay? And in business, leverage or politics, people have to be forced to play fair. So if I'm dealing with 50 Cent, he got enemies, automatically, those are my enemies. If I make that decision, and he's not gonna allow me to make a passive aggressive decision. A lot of times passive aggressive decisions or lukewarm decisions mean that, hey, I'm not involved in it. You know, hey, I'm cool with both sides. It sounds like a good idea, right? No, it's wrong. You have to make a decision. And this is why 50 Cent got people who ride for him or people who are enemies. If you're lukewarm against 50 Cent, you are an enemy. No doubt about it. If you are passive aggressive, you are an enemy. If you have misguided, misdirected language, you are an enemy. And then also what Lil Meech had the opportunity to do, and he didn't do it, is when his dad was doing it, he should have disowned his father for that. Now I know, how can you disown your dad, right? Stop the show. Well, his dad disowned him once he basically went with Rick Ross.
Woo!
So his father was operating in his own interest. And so what Lil Meech was supposed to do was to disown his father publicly as soon as he found that out and tell 50 Cent, I'm riding with you. I'm not riding with that dude. I'm with you. You did too much for me. But it didn't happen. And so now, if we understand the real plays behind 50 Cent's genius, this is a blueprint. Make people choose a side when they're dealing with you. And a lot of us, we got friends. Well, I'm cool with you and I'm cool with him and all of that. Nope, you can't. Typically, you can't trust that person. Typically, you can't. All right. If you are close friends, if you need that person for something, that person must be an example for the rest of the people to know how to deal with you. Unfortunately, it may come at a cost to somebody that's innocent, but that person needs to be made an example out of. They need to be embarrassed. They need to be cut off. It's unfortunate to do this, and it's a bold move. But again, it keeps people honest. And what does it create? If it doesn't create fear, it creates respect. Okay? And you need both. Fear and respect. And usually in life, we would like to exist in a world where we could have parity and equality, but we don't. We don't. Sometimes you need to be able to enforce your will on people without the police being there. And I'm talking about non-violently. It's a good strategy. And it's how 50 Cent has become so powerful. Making people play honest. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, Shitty Jackson, back at it again with an episode of The Celebrity Junk. Thank you for all that you do. Hit the bell. We out.